What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Key Smash Studios video. Today we are going to be talking about an EXP farm and a mob spawner, so we can get a bunch of items and a bunch of EXP, and doing this in a doubly redundant space, meaning we get twice the amount of mobs that we normally would with a single spawner. As always, I will try to go step by step so we are all on the same page, and if you have any questions, you can leave me a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. It really does help us out, and we'll hop right into this. As we get into this, I just want to point out that the actual powered mob spawner is on the right here. I just want to show you what it looks like on the inside on the left without breaking it apart and going inside. So the actual build of this is the foundation of an 11 by 11 cobblestone setup. What this does is it allows us to have a 9 by 9 section of dirt that goes on top, and this dirt is on top of cobblestone, so if I knock it away you can see there's cobblestone underneath there, and that's super important because we are going to be turning this into cursed earth and we don't want it to spread to the rest of our base. Trust me, it's a bad time. I've done it. Would not recommend it. Then going further up from that, there are 4 tiles of spawnable area here before we get to the roof. And on that roof, we just have one input of power to go to a powered spawner. Now that powered spawner is part of Ender IO. I will place one down here so we can take a look at it. It needs a capacitor, octadic being the best, basic being the worst, but the intro level does not matter. It just needs to have a capacitor of any type and power, and it spawns Endermen. Now the cost of this is not too extreme, but you know, this should be sort of a mid-game build. Electrical steel ingots are probably the most expensive thing here. You also need a Enderman head. So go ahead and grab one of those if you don't have it. If you don't have electrical steel ingots, I'm not going to go into how to get every different item right now, but just work on getting those so you can craft this spawner. Now this spawner is one of several that Ender IO has, but seeing as Ender Pearls are so valuable in MC Eternal, it's almost best to do the Enderman powered spawner if you can. It does, however, cost more energy to spawn Enders, so just keep that in mind. Now the range of this is a 9 by 9 square, go figure. That's what we set up our base to be. It's a 9 by 9 square that is 3 high. And what we're actually going to do is elevate it 1 off the ground. So if I were to just place this one here and show the range of it, you'll see that it actually spawns in a 4 by 9 by 9 square now. So that is one of our spawns. The other spawner that we're going to be using is a Drop of Evil. Now, Drop of Evil is a great way to mess up your base. This Drop of Evil will turn any dirt that it touches when you right-click to use it into cursed earth, and cursed earth spawns mobs. So if you do this not on your 9 by 9 dirt that's totally isolated by cobblestone, it will spread until that dirt stops or it reaches a different chunk loading zone. Either way, it will spread a lot more than you actually want it to, and monsters will spawn in your base and all that jazz. So we're going to use this only on the dirt that we set up in our spawner. Now inside our spawner, we just need to give power to our unit and then take that power out on the roof. Once we provide power to this unit and it has a capacitor, let me just grab one here. Once we provide power and it has a capacitor, it will start to spawn Endermen in this 9 by 9 area, which we have already dictated. Now I'm chopping off the top bit of this just to make sure that we have enough room for anything to spawn on our cursed earth, but we're also 3 or 4 high for our Endermen to spawn inside, not below. And what this does is when we spawn our cursed earth, it gives us a spot to have a 1 spawn here, meaning that something like a spider that can only spawn in a place where there is 1 depth high can also spawn here. Once we provide power to this, and it has a capacitor, it will start to spawn, assuming that it is capable of spawning. Right now I'm on creative and it doesn't have power going to it, but once I do give it power, it will start to spawn Endermen. And we need to have a way to kill those Endermen before they do anything. And the way that we're going to do that is by using an industrial foregoing mob crusher. Now the mob crusher, just want to place one of these here real quick. Now the mob crusher has a slightly different working area. And that working area is a 1x1 directly in front of it. Obviously that's not quite what we need, and we need to expand that area a little bit. And you can expand that area by using a range modifier. A range modifier is part of industrial foregoing, and we can put a +4 modifier into this mob crusher, and you can see that it gives us that lovely 9x9 block. Now anything that has its base inside this 9x9 square will be killed. So even if you have a spider that's crawling up the wall, as long as the base of the creature is inside this 9x9 square, it will be killed. And this mob crusher has several outputs. First, it has a power input. Obviously, anytime we're doing electronics, we need to have a power input. It also has an item output and a fluid output. It generates essence fluid, and the items it picks up from the mods. So we need a way to handle 3 things going in and out of this mob crusher. Power in, items out, fluid out. And the way that we're going to do that is by using item conduits. So items out, we can use an item conduit and just extract items. Now, it is worth mentioning that these mob spawners generate so many items, you have to upgrade the speed of the extraction. So let's go ahead and turn this to always on, and what we're going to do is add an extract speed upgrade from Ender.io. As always, if you have any questions about what all of these components are and where they come from, you can always search for them on the right side. And you can put the mod name, so like @Ender for @Ender.io, and it will search within that mod. Primarily, we're concerned with the speed upgrade, and if I search speed upgrade, you can see that there's an extract speed upgrade and an extract speed downgrade. We're concerned with the speed upgrade because we want to pull things faster and faster. You can actually put 15 of them in here, and that will pull things out 15 times faster than it does normally. And since we're generating so many items, we really need to make sure that we're dumping those items as fast as we can, because we don't have a ton of storage in here. Additionally, we need a way to deal with the fluids. So if I just pull off the side here, a fluid conduit, in a similar manner, we would like to extract that fluid, have it always active. Now, anytime essence is created by a mob crusher, it will pull it off here. And then you can just have it go to a tank, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Then obviously the last little bit of our puzzle is to provide power to it, so just a quick power conduit coming off, and these are the 3 conduits, or 3 things that we need to extract or put into this mob crusher. This mob crusher, once it has power and a way to handle the items and the fluids, will be able to kill anything that is generated by this mob spawner, the spawn Enderman, or the cursed earth. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up so I don't kill my game real quick, and I'll be back with a walled off version of this. Alright, so now that I've done the wall, I'm going to show you why this particular setup is so powerful. And it is because it combines 2 different spawners, as I said. So the first spawner is this one, this Enderman spawn. It will spawn normally. The second one is the Cursed Earth. Now, Cursed Earth, we just use a drop of evil on dirt, and it will create Cursed Earth. It will spread to every dirt, as I said, so just be really careful when you use it. But once you use it, it will turn all of the dirt it's connected to into Cursed Earth. If I come over here to this working mob spawner, we can see some of the offput that I've set up, and I will go through it as best I can. As I mentioned before, we need to make sure that we have speed coming off the extract here, so there aren't extra items that are waiting in here. We want to extract them and dump them into this chest and add them to a computer database. Now, the computer database is running and has been for some time. Based on all the different mods that are spawning, you'll get a ton of loot. So it's super important that you have a ton of storage. So these are all 64K storage cells. I highly recommend you have essentially a whole server farm going before you set this up. Obviously, you don't have to keep all of this, and there's ways to get rid of some of this stuff. I'm not going to go through it right now, but for the most part, how this works is I am pulling items out of this mob crusher. This mob crusher has power, it's generating items, and it's generating fluid essence. The items are being generated here. They're being pulled through this Ender IO port, down, out this item conduit from Ender IO into this chest where they're dumped. Then I'm using an ME import bus, as well as the covered cables. Any cables from Applied Energistics will work, and I'm dumping those into the computer system. So it's importing items that land in this chest into the computer system. The computer system is just hooked up to a bunch of drives here, so that when I need to, I can add a drive, and all the items are stored on this drive. As far as the fluids go, in a similar pattern, the fluids are extracted via a pressurized fluid conduit, and that fluid conduit comes down here, dumps it into an elite fluid tank from Mechanism. It doesn't really have to be this one from Mechanism. It can be really any fluid tank. This is just a medium step in the process where then I use a fluid import bus to import fluid from the tank into the system. And now I have a fluid ME terminal, so we can see that I have 309.86 B essence. So I want to go in here just so we can see how this is working. And as soon as I break this away, the cursed earth will not work. The cursed earth will start working as soon as I cover it up and it is dark. So once I cover this up, we can come down here to this mob crusher. Ow. And we'll see that it is pulling in items. If you are in survival and it is not dark out, the cursed earth will not work. So I'm coming over here to this one that we set up earlier. I'll just go up to the top here where it's not done. This is cursed earth, but the mobs are not spawning because it is daytime, even though if we go to my options, we can see the difficulty is set to hard. Once that is covered, though, the cursed earth will start spawning mobs, as will the mob spawner that is from Ender IO, and our mob crusher will start going all the way through those mobs and dumping them into our system. So if you have any questions about how all this works or anything like that, please let me know down in the comments below. I'm always more than happy to help. Please consider joining our Discord. You'll find a link in the description below. If you found this video to be super helpful, there is a link to our Twitch and our Patreon, as well as some other projects that we've done. Please give a look at any of those. Give us a click. Those things help us immensely. As always, I hope this has been helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. It really does help us out, and hopefully I'll see you next week.